My question to you folk is, which one would you rather? A Porsche or a legendary van like Perspective to live in? I'm just about to go to the gym and fucking something going on my neck again, you know. There's a legendary little whippet look. I'm just about to go to the gym and I was actually just thinking, since I didn't post, look, let's just sit in the van that doesn't work, pretend I can actually go somewhere. I was thinking about the fact that obviously I'd not posted for basically 6 months, and in that time I actually surpassed 3 years of living in the van, full time, no breaks, which is actually quite crazy. And it literally started in this legendary place. And I actually started over there where that silver van is, if you can see that. And I was next to that bus, and you see that bus there, that, I don't know, bus, whatever, the bluey green thing with a white on the top, whatever. That is where the crackheads were living originally. And when I told you guys, I nearly started a shitting war with them, because they came over right at the very beginning and knocked on my shutter to see if anyone was in, and then I lifted it up, and I was actually smoking weed at the time. I've not smoked that for ages now, by the way. And I lifted up the shutter, and, you know, they came up with some bullshit story about, you know, wanting to borrow my tools and stuff like this. And, you know, basically I obviously sacked them off, and then it basically started a shitting war where they kept coming to the back of the van and laying a shit, a big cracky shit as well. Fucking disgusting. But anyway, that's all over now, unfortunately, that they've moved on. But yeah, it really just got me thinking and reflecting on 3 years of van life. How crazy is that I actually started in doing property investment, you know, was 24 grand in debt, worked my arse off, cleared my debt, cleared my overdraft, all this kind of stuff. And then, you know, get enough money behind me, 15 to 20 grand saved, and the van must have cost me about 20 grand in total, which is actually just crazy. And I was definitely able to accomplish that because I just gave up my comforts and I moved out the apartment I was in at the time. And then I basically spent, it was pretty much exactly the last 18 months of my job just living in the back of the van. And, you know, I don't need to go into that, but you guys have seen how I first moved out into the van, you know, with literally just a bare back, nothing, pillow and a mattress, and then we're good to go. And that was October at the time. And in the October that I moved in, it was absolutely fucking freezing here as well. It was literally -5. But I wanted to share this because I was thinking about, wow, 3 years is actually quite some time. It's actually longer. I moved out into the van in September 2022. So it's actually what? So October, November, December, January. So 3 years and 4 months I've been living in this bad boy. And I've actually had a lot of comments. And Spectrum EDM, I believe that's it. Yes, my bro, you've been very supportive on the channel, just like most of you have. And he put a comment that he's moving out into the van, and he actually sent me an email way back when I was about to go out to Thailand. I'll do another video on reflections of Thailand, by the way, because that's really, I think that's changed the direction of my life a lot. And he sent an email to me saying, look, so why don't you let me rent the van from you? I'm not bothered about money and shit like this, and I'll just rent it and pay it and all this kind of stuff, which is just super kind. And saying that, mate, I obviously have had pretty much 6 months off YouTube. And when I first come back, basically with that video that I did the other day, just sharing, you know, the fact that I'm basically living on the church and stuff again, I have to say, just genuinely, you lot are absolutely unbelievably kind to me. And I think it's very important, and I want to express my gratitude for your kindness. Like, loads of people sent me emails. All of the comments, every single one of them, like super positive, super supportive. And considering I've like been away for basically 6 months, and then I come back and bam, you know, the OGs are still there, still supportive, just being legends. I just want to say thanks. And yeah, so basically, I really just want to just run through very quickly this 3-year period, because I think a lot of people have commented on my videos over time that they've actually moved out into vans, and they started this journey because they saw me doing this and all this kind of shit. And after, obviously, I'm here now 3.25 years later, slightly more, I want to share with everybody that this is still one of the best moves that I've ever made in my life. And if you're thinking about doing it, living in a van, moving out, whatever your reason is, you know, for me, I needed to get out of debt. I kind of always liked the thought of doing van life, but I wasn't like super into it. You know, some people proper love it, but I was like, I don't really care, you know. I grew up in a small bedroom and shit like this when I was growing up, so I wasn't really bothered. But one thing that definitely I wanted to do was go travelling, and this allowed me to fulfill that dream. And, you know, making those sacrifices earlier on, saying fuck it, going through the difficulties, fixing the van, moving out when I couldn't really, you know, afford everything to build, certainly not, and stuff, but just having faith that it's all going to work out, keep working, all this kind of stuff, and then eventually it gets built. It just shows that you can actually achieve these things if you put your mind to it. And you can go through the difficult periods. I've shared it in the past, so I'm not going to run into it now. But obviously I mentioned about the crackhead shitting and stuff like this. You know, then it's like sleepless nights, and I'm waking up thinking, fucking hell, is there a crackhead round the van at 2 a.m? I'm there shooting up the shutter at the back thinking, right, I'm going to go out and give this guy a slap. But, you know, so that was just not pleasant. And then, you know, I had holes in the van, and one night there was a storm and everything got pissed on and my mattress was wet and all of this. And then I, you know, came off my electric bike, flew over my handlebar, dislocated my leg, dislocated my arm. And it's like, that was the most challenging period in terms of physically challenging, not mentally. I've had other more mentally challenging periods, which I've discussed in the past. I'm not going to fly into that now, but in terms of physically challenging, that was probably the most physically challenging time of my life. And I remember going into work and them saying, Simon, look, just stay at mine. You know, they're super kind, they're all legends at my old job in property investment. And but I was like, no, like, I need to do this. I'm not taking the easier way out. I am fucking committing, and I'm getting this done, and I'm not stopping until I get it done. I do not care what life throws at me. You are literally going to have to kill me to stop me. And when I had my leg fucking bent sideways, and then, you know, I couldn't move it, I'm there literally on this church ground in that corner there where I just pointed it to you, and I'm hobbling up the ladder with my drill, like clinging on because one leg doesn't work properly, and I'm filling in the holes and doing all of this kind of shit. And it was extremely challenging. But what I want to say to people is, for those that are looking to embark on this journey, or any journey in life, anything that's worthwhile doing is not going to be easy. And I've definitely experienced that numerous times firsthand, and this van build was one of them. But what happens in time, and I've heard this saying, I can't remember where, the time is going to pass anyway, so you might as well do it. Whatever that is, the time is going to pass. And that stuck with me since I heard that years and years ago. And that always got me into fuck it, I'm just going to do it because the time is going to pass anyway. And I'd much rather be the person that looks back in, let's just say, this van build, 18 months time has passed. I could have looked back and think, oh, I've stayed comfy at my mate's apartment and stuff like this, and it's been custy. And then I look back and I think, right, okay, but what have I built? I've done nothing. I've played it safe. I've played it easy. Instead, no, the time is going to pass anyway, so I'm going to do it. And I said, no, thanks very much for the offer, but I'm going to graft it out. I'm going to grind. I don't care what life puts me through. I am going to complete this van build. And I went through it. Funny enough, my leg heals because us humans are great at healing. Same as like my neck and all this kind of stuff at the moment. It's going to heal. Life is all good. And then I find myself 18 months later, bosh, I've got enough money behind me because I've stayed in the van. I've not paid the high rent and all this kind of stuff. I can quit my job. and I can finally fulfill this dream of going traveling around the world. And then as you got say traveling around the world, I got as far as East Turkey. I think it was 21 countries in total. Whatever, still loads of traveling. And then obviously I went to Thailand, and again, this is because I saved money and stuff. It's just because some people are a bit anal about it. I'm like, hey, you weren't travelling around the world, you were in Europe. Fuck off, mate. Anyway, so we did a load of travelling, and I finally fulfilled that dream of basically just being free for a period of time where I could do what I want and go to where I want. And it was absolutely incredible. Amazing experience. And I finally got to fulfill that. And I did that because I stayed in the van, I grinded through it, I went through the hard times, and then when you go through the hard times, you choose the path that's not easy, then you often get the reward that you are looking for. So yeah, that'll do really. I wanted to share that with you people, for anyone that's thinking about van life or thinking about any kind of decision in life. You know, I would advise you to step outside of your comfort zone, because when you step outside of your comfort zone, then your comfort zone has no choice but to expand and to grow. And yeah, it's fun. You learn a lot and you grow a lot. And I learned an insane amount in Thailand in particular. I'm going to finish on a regret. And you saw me stop YouTube for a period of time, and this is when I was out in Thailand. And the regret, because I don't want other people to make the same mistake that I did, even though I'm thankful now, because obviously I've got you guys, and I've got kind of this base on YouTube, and I would say it's like, you know, I've got nearly 10,000 followers, whatever, but it's more the base of like 1,000 people that watch each video regardless. And obviously then you've got the super supportive core group, and you know who you are. If you comment on my videos, I'm extremely grateful. And so I don't you know, I don't regret it now as such, but it's more, what I'm saying is, I'd always wanted to go travelling. And then I finally got to fulfill that and be free. But instead of just travelling around in my van, being free with my missus and doing everything just free flowing, doing what we want, I was still in a place, because I'd started YouTube on that travel journey, and I was thinking I still want to progress and I want to, you know, make a success of YouTube and shit like this. I then was chasing content and the creation of content, and that definitely was like at the forefront of my mind when I'm traveling around and stuff, that I need to create content. And it did take away some of the pleasure of the experience of traveling. And I would say that's why when I eventually went to Thailand, I've wanted to go to Thailand since I was like 18, even younger years old. So, you know, you were talking, this is a 20-year thing. I wanted to go to Thailand, and I'd always put business first, my fish and chip business, and then I was, you know, working in like car sales, just trying to make money, and then another business trying to make money, and then it was always just something, but I've got to make it success and all this kind of shit, yeah. And that was always put on the back burner. And then finally I find myself in a position, you know, last year, where I'm like 36 years old, and I'm like, fuck it. I finally am in a position where I'm going to just do it. I'm not putting anything else first. I'm just going to do it. And with that, that's why I ended up basically cutting back on my YouTube videos when I was out there, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to be in Thailand. I can still create content, do vlogs and stuff like this. But what I found myself doing, again, was kind of trying to experience things to create content, rather than to just do things to experience them because I wanted to. The content was leading first. And that's when I thought, bollocks to this, I am not making the same mistake that I did when I was doing the van journey. again, I don't regret it as such. I can't use the word like regret. It was more a mistake, because obviously here I am now, and we're kind of kicking things off again. I'm going to be launching my brand, you know, so I've like, there's still been, you know, benefits, and I do think it's going to be, yeah, beneficial for my future and stuff. But still, I'm just sharing that so you guys can learn from, you know, kind of my journey, really. Again, it's just one of these ones of literally just sharing completely honestly my thoughts on everything, and yeah, reflecting on kind of my journey, especially living in a van and doing this whole van life thing over this 3-year period. So anyway, yeah, I hope this has helped some people. Thanks for the love and support. I'm going to do another video on reflecting on Thailand, because I learned a lot, hell of a lot, and I'm grateful for that experience, but that's for another video. Anyway, I'm going to go to the gym with my like sore neck, but I don't think it's actually like a muscle, you know, it's like inside, but who knows. We're great at healing. We keep going. Peace and love from the church. I'll see you soon.